Hi, I'm Yolanda Delavaux, the Information and Communications Officer for the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, better known as BAMSI. I would like to present our President, Godfrey Eneas, who also serves as the Bahamas Ambassador to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. It is through Ambassador Eneas' leadership that the mandate that is BAMSI has been carried forth and is today making a tangible impact on the Bahamian economy.
As President of the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, I take this opportunity to introduce the BAMSI Story to my fellow Bahamians. The conceptualization of the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute is a journey. It is a journey which was conceived from as far back as 1981. In the 1981 PLP Convention Address, the late Sir Lynden Oscar Pindling, the first Prime Minister of the Bahamas, described his dream for Andros.
And Andros will nurture our political capital with much more land to spare. Her rich soils will be the breadbasket of the Bahamas, and her cooling waters will soothe the hottest throat. As Florida's frost line moves further south, as more and more farmland in Florida is eaten up by the expansion of her cities and the growth of her population, as its land becomes scarcer and scarcer, the farmlands of Abaco of Andros will come under economic use for the primary production of and the manufacture of food products, not only for domestic consumption, but also for export. Her rejuvenated pine lands will not in future be used to make paper in America or prop up coal mines in Britain. Instead, they will be used to base an industry at home that will provide our people not only with work, but with building materials. The sap from the pine trees will turn into turpentine. From her rich banks and deep sea troughs, we will mine the gold of the sea and manufacture and process on the spot fish and fish products, both for the local and the international market. The rich mud on her western coast will make beauty packs for our women and provide a raw material base for our paints. In her many creeks, sheltered from the large marauding fish of the open sea, fish farms would be developed for shrimp and other high-protein seafood. Her conch beds will be turned into factories of jewels, producing rare cultured pearls, just like the Japanese did with their oyster beds. Her broad, swathing beaches will give rise to tourist resorts rivaling anything in Nassau or Freeport. And I have a dream, too, that one day, somewhere off the shores of Andros, we will at last be able to bring to the surface the oil which for many years we have been hearing about as being there. Three international airports, one in the north, one in the center, and one in the south, will be necessary to meet her agricultural, her industrial, and her touristic needs. The infrastructural development of northern Andros is almost completed. Its extension to central Andros is now in progress. Fresh Creek already has the infrastructure to support major resort and marina development, and an application is presently being considered for just a thing by the government. There are no more beautiful beaches in all Andros than there are in Kemps Bay, where the road and bridge infrastructure has been completed, and telephone, electricity, and water infrastructure are quietly but surely being put in place for township expansion. Fellow delegates, a new frontier beckons in Andros for another 50,000 Bahamians.
In 1998, Winston Lynden was about to retire from politics. I paid him a visit at his law chambers, which were located on West Bay Street on the grounds where the point is being constructed. I went to see Sir Lynden because I wanted him to receive a copy of my book, my first book, Agriculture in the Bahamas. During his years as Prime Minister, the Pindling government initiated some critical developments in the field of agriculture. For example, establishment of the packing house system throughout the archipelago, and the granting of scholarships to scores of Bahamians to study agriculture and fisheries, particularly in areas like veterinary medicine, horticulture, agronomy, agricultural economics, etc. As the Lynden paged through my book, he looked up at me and said, "Godfrey, I felt I could have done more for the farmers and fishermen of our country. However, Perry will finish the job."
I indicated to the chairman of BAIC and the Minister of Agriculture, and to the consultant of BAIC, Mr. Godfrey, that I wanted to start a teaching farm. My vision was to start a teaching farm in North Andros. Yes. Now, Abaco has 50,000 acres of arable land. Grand Bahamas has 30,000 acres. Andros arguably has 134. Godfrey says 100,000. I say 134,000. But arable acres of land. We are in the process, College of Bahamas, BAIC, Minister of Agriculture, Government of Bahamas, are preparing now, in accordance with the commitment we made in the Charter for Governance, a teaching institute, a Minister of Education, I beg your pardon, I'll call his name, College of Bahamas, a teaching institute, one that will be on the ground in the most productive part of the Bahamas, doing research in agricultural sciences, teaching agricultural sciences. We have the infrastructure there, former dormitories used, former buildings, classrooms, greenhouses, and it will be a marine institute for marine research and marine sciences, and around which a new city will develop in North Andros.
Prior to 2012, there was no BAMSI, despite the naysayers and the negativity in some quarters. BAMSI is a striving entity, and it is today a transformational institute, not only in Andros, but throughout the archipelago, as the Associated Farmers Network is now located in almost every island of our country.
What captured the imagination of two of the greatest leaders in Bahamian history? The ability of men and women of our nation to feed themselves, and in so doing, developing industries and economies of scale that will propel our family island community out of poverty, out of hunger, and into a wealthy place of self-sufficiency, sustainability, ownership, and economic stability. In the acres of rich, nutrient-dense soils and teeming waters of Andros, this idea of self-sufficiency became crystallized. BAMSI, the new face of agriculture, was established in 2014 to lead the charge in the fight against impoverishment and against a $1 billion food import bill. And today, it is in the midst of transforming the industry through the creation of a cohesive strategy that has a national perspective. Emerging from this desire to see Bahamians advance into this new reality, a concept began to form and take shape. Instead of struggling against the tide, it was time to tap into the strengths of the archipelago. We grow our own food. We teach farmers the best way to farm. We encourage, guide, and support the processing and manufacturing of food products. We educate, train, and prepare our students for a vast array of career opportunities. We conduct research, keeping abreast with the latest technological advances and scientific breakthroughs in agriculture. As the late Nelson Mandela once said, everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. We at BAMSI, we're passionate about what we do. So let's meet the team.
So why BAMSI? Why not BAMSI? We offer a unique balance of academics married with skills training. We are able to produce students who are competent, who are exposed, and who are ready from day one. We are able to give them a holistic approach to education and training. We also have a very low student-teacher ratio, which makes us a family, and our graduates are in high demand. Who benefits? I think the entire country benefits from our program, as there's a place at BAMSI for everyone. Through our short courses, our online courses, our certificate programs and associate degree programs, there's something at BAMSI for everyone. And how history will remember us, I think that history will be kind, and I think that we will be praised.
BAMSI, as its hallmark, has its purpose as a multiplication center for the Bahamas. The AFP program is where the BAMSI is actually moving forward with its production system. Presently, AFP is considered the influence for farmers' crop production. The AFP will now be moving on into the livestock section. Behind me, I have several of our newly imported animals. This is stemming from what our development goals are: bringing farmers new products, new genetic material, and actually producing. A part of our main goal is to assess the public through our farmers. So the BAMSI does not directly give meat to the consumers, but in fact to the farmers through its breeding programs. Moving forward, we will be moving into several different areas, namely swine production and poultry production.
The Associated Farmers Program, which is the outreach and extension part of the BAMSI organization, is beneficial to the entire country because of the inputs that we are able to supply, the technological basis of our work, and also because we need to have more insight and more knowledge as to where our food is coming from. The world is moving towards a greater relationship between humans and where their food comes from.
So we're running several research projects and semi-commercial projects. One of them is our aquaponics display, which you can see here, where we use fish to feed plants, where we grow vegetables using the fish as a nutrient source. So we have, but in our shade house, we have various lettuces, red lettuces, green lettuces growing, as well as arugula, kale, Swiss chard growing, and this is done on a semi-commercial basis, which we ship to Nassau. Hydroponics and aquaponics would be very important to the southern Bahamas, especially because where there's so little rainfall in those areas, this technology involves the use of a minimal quantity of water to produce large quantities of vegetables. Compared to dry land farming, We have this technology uses about 1/10 of the water that a typical farmer would use, and it uses about 1/10 of the space a typical farmer would use. So it's very efficient, and you end up with very large quantities of vegetables, which are normally very nutritious and satisfying in a small area. This is very sustainable because it uses very little energy, very little water. It's very conservative by its very nature. So it's very important to use in areas where there's little development or low development, and it's very beneficial because there's it has a low cost to put this in place.
BAMSI is critical to the agricultural section in the Bahamas today. What we've seen over the last 20 or so years is a decline in the agricultural sector, and BAMSI is critical in lifting the agriculture sector and returning the agriculture sector to growth. Through GRAC, the Gladstone Road Agricultural Research Center, BAMSI will extend its program in research, in extension, and training to the population which is based on the Providence and throughout the Bahamas.
BAMSI came at a time for me when the Bahamian economy needed to be revolutionized. I taught high school science for a number of years, and I wanted a change. I wanted a place where I could invest my knowledge, my skills, my ideas, my passion really for the environment, for sustainability in agriculture and community. Unfortunately, my options were extremely limited because I just didn't want a job. I wanted somewhere that I could invest my time in something that I believed in and something that would not only be beneficial for me, but to my country as well. And BAMSI was that place.
In a focus groups report, October 2016, presented by Fleshman Hilliard from 1,003 individuals, ages 16 to 65 years from Abaco, Andros, Eleuthera, Grand Bahama, New Providence, and Long Island, yield the following. 87% stated the Bahamas should have a program like BAMSI that connects farmers throughout the islands and helps them become more prosperous. 82% polled agreed that BAMSI is an important part of ensuring food security for the Bahamas and to reduce our country's reliance on food imports. 93% of respondents agreed that diversifying the Bahamas economy is important and a focus on agriculture is a good way to do that. 94% said it's important that the Bahamas produces its own food and relies less on importing food. These results clearly demonstrate the need and desire of the Bahamian people for a separate entity to address the agriculture, marine resources, and food security in this country. The answer lies within the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute.
Well, you've seen BAMSI in action. Here is the output. BAMSI is a change agent. It has changed the debate on food production. We can produce competitively. It has changed the role of agriculture in the economy. It has changed the perception of agriculture. The youth of the Bahamas as students now understand it to be an applied science, which is technology driven. It has opened up new vistas of career opportunities as Bahamians are now returning from the four corners of the world to lecture and teach crop and livestock sciences, food processing, and marine sciences. That is what BAMSI is ultimately about. We have demonstrated that this institute can produce world-class citizens and world-class agriculturalists. And just to give you an example, one of our graduates, Romeo Josie, has just been recruited by the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, CADI, to be employed. Another one of our students, Gamel Molly, has just received a 4-year scholarship for the Masters of Science degree in China. That is the quality student we are turning out, or the quality graduate we are turning out. And ladies and gentlemen and fellow Bahamians, we are going to win the war against food imports. The government's import substitution policy will pay dividends for our country. And the BAMSI team has just created AgriVision 2021, which is the blueprint to take us into greater food and nutrition security.
You've been watching the BAMSI Story, Face of New Agriculture.
Should you wish to contact the BAMSI office, our numbers are area code 242-397-6580, or the BAMSI Institute in North Andros, area code 242-329-1700, or visit us at our website www.bamsibahamas.com.